I was in Los Angeles and I had tickets to a game on Tuesday. The Lakers were playing the Clippers. And that Sunday morning, I was in the shower and a friend of mine was calling me out. He was saying, Lior, Lior. And um, he knows in the shower. He knew that, there's no rush. I was taking a bath. This could wait until I was done. And yet he really screamed. And I was like, what's wrong? What's happened? And they got the news that Kobe Bryant had died just probably 10 or 15 minutes prior to that. Or obviously they didn't know he died, but he knew that it was in a helicopter crash. And about a week later, I flew back to my home country. And that's when coronavirus entered into our lives. And since it had done that early February, for me at least, a month later in early March, we entered a quarantine, a full-blown quarantine. And it was obviously very weird going from traveling the world for 2 years straight. We've been to 25 countries, me and my wife and our little daughter and my wife's mother, so my mother-in-law. We were all doing this together. And this came along and really changed our lives from end to end. So I want to share with you 3 top things that I've learned in the last 8 months, not only about myself, but looking at what's happening around the world right now and trying to soak it in and understand how people are reacting to this, what we've seen, and how people respond to a crisis, a pandemic, to change, and what could be permanent, what could go back to normal. A few things that I think you'll appreciate and you'll gain some value from. I'm going to screen share real quick. And what we see here is the first thing I'd like to show you is the truth. So it's a very weird outcome of the information age that in a time like this, when knowledge and information are readily available, as it is, you can really search a lot of things. And if they're not free to search, you can hire someone to search it for you. You can reach the truth in many things, in most things, with minimal effort. Compare that to, say, 100 years ago when somebody told you that in Mexico they eat giraffes. There was hardly a way for you to really look for that information, if that's true or not. Today, it's really easy to look for information. And so it's really hard to play a trick or misinform someone. But it's become that became a pandemic a few years ago, and it still is. The misinformation that is out there is unbelievable. And it's very interesting because I think people have stopped cherishing the truth. What I mean by that is they would rather believe their favorite blogger or their favorite TV platform or their favorite star and take verbatim what they're saying rather than challenge that and look for the truth in things. Why is that important? It's important because many people are just operating under illusions. And in the last 8 months, I've really seen that come to play. Adults, grown-ups have come to me with, I don't know how they got that information. And that's interesting because what I've observed is when you confront them with the truth, when you spin a computer at them and tell them, well, read this, they don't buy it. They think whatever they've learned is the truth. They don't really care about the truth, if that makes sense. They care about themselves being correct, or they care about the fact that if that person said that, it is the truth. And that plays into another thing with it, which is concealing the truth. Or you would see that a lot of facts are just getting thrown aside, and the information that you're getting feed from mainstream media, for example, is very minimal. They would funnel it to the truth, but whatever they want you to think is the whole truth, and it isn't. So it's a very interesting time, and therefore here are some important questions to ask. One, is who can you expect the truth from? And that goes to seek for motive. For example, in politics, I've never looked for the truth because it's not their motive to tell you the truth. They hardly would tell the truth. The politician would, especially if he's high level, will hardly tell you the truth. Who will tell you the truth are people that love the truth. So you need to look for those people, and the less of a motive they have, the more they're genuinely looking to tell you what's real. The second question is, can you as a person handle reality, and why does it become an ultimate advantage? Well, let's say that you know that there's a real change in consumer behavior, a real change. For example, you know that online shopping is increasing fourfold or fivefold. The payment processing is moving in one direction, and that's upwards. And you're an investor, and they present you daily with the fact that there's a bubble on with tech, and then on the other side you see that tech companies are exploding in price. Where is the truth? What are the facts? If you're able to take those two things, which one of them is wrong, right? It's either a bubble or it has some merit to it. So one of them is right. If you're able to find that information and what is right, you can make a great decision. Otherwise, you can make a very bad decision. Investments are all about results. So knowing information and knowing that you can handle the truth. In other words, you can say, my God, until yesterday, I thought it was a bubble. Now I think it's legitimate because I've seen the evidence. If you're able to say, great, I was wrong, and kind of break away from your illusion, I'm just giving a theory here, then you can make decisions from that. So I think that's really important. Where does it come into leadership in your house, in your business, etc.? You need to acknowledge the fact that people don't like the truth that much anymore. They just don't cherish it. Most people, they care about what they think is the truth. And if you're willing to be patient with, for example, your employees, your friends, family members, whoever's surrounding you, and you're willing to be courteous to their opinions, even though you know they're wrong in some regards. Let's say that you know the truth, the real truth, and funny to say the real truth, but that you know the truth and they know their version of what they think is true and you know it's wrong. If you can be courteous to them, if you can be non-judgmental to your employees, to your clients, to your community, man, do you have a real advantage in leadership? Because then you can look past that. You can try to get to the goal, which is to see results. And that's where leadership thrives in this kind of environment where, vaccine, terrible, great. Biden and Trump, it's so everything is so black, and they're trying to distance the two candidates like they're day and night. And you need to learn where the truth resides. What do they really think? Where does the real agenda lie? So the second thing I want to learn, that I've learned in the past few months, is forced change. Man, do people hate being told what to do, but they don't hate being told what to do in the big things. They really hate being told what to do in the little things. When you come into their lives in like the little things, that bothers them greatly. I'll give you an example. You eat in your home, and then your significant other looks at you, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and says, you're eating like a pig. You make all these sounds. You breathe hard. That can rattle your cage. That can get you emotionally charged. Whereas if you hear that they're talking about a 5% increase in taxes, something that will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of, you don't get as upset as that, because it's not as small of a detail. That's what people really hate. When somebody remarks, hey, put your mask on. Your mask is not over your nose. That type of remark can get you really upset. And so I've learned that, and that comes to pettiness. Can you look past that? Can you put those things aside? Can you live your life without preaching to others? This pandemic has taught me so much about my control over just myself, because there are 7 billion souls or 8 billion souls out there, which I can't control what they think, where they come from, what their background is. And you need to connect with some of them instantly to get results in your business, in your work, and in your investments, in your family life, in your community, as a parent. And you need to find that click. So the power of relationships has never been greater, because it's really hard to connect with people right now because they have firm opinions which they believe are truths. That's really hard to deal with. They're not open to change. So leadership and results will come to those who can look past these things and into the real motives. What do people really want? And remember that ultimately people, what they really want is the same thing that you want. So look past their susceptibility to agendas, and you will see real results. I would say that's called tact in a word, but there are probably better words to describe it. And ultimately, what that will do for you, especially in your business and whatnot, you will get the support you need from your people. If you were able to spend the day overlooking many of the little things, when you really need them, they'll appreciate the fact that you're not like all the other people that have told them to, lace their shoe when they go there or do that, or just the little things, and you were big enough not to touch those little things. Lastly, I'll give you something controversial. Man, that 4-year system that we vote on, if you guys vote, it's so arbitrary, because if you look at it, why would a great president, and I'm not saying Trump is a great president or Biden will be a great president, or I'm not talking about any president in particular, I'm talking about presidency in general. When you have a great CEO of a company, he can be there for years. In fact, he can be there for decades, and there are CEOs who have been there for decades. If he can do the job, if he can meet the goals that the board of directors and shareholders expect from him, then why not keep him? Now, keep him accountable, keep him in check by checking his approval ratings, by checking his goals. Has he met his goals? He has to put some goals in place and meet them. And those goals have to do with the entire country, not just with his base. That's another problem with the 4-year system. You're always looking to please your base and not to please the country. And the big thing, and here's where I tie this all into my own life, is, think about changing everything every 4 years. Why would you do that as a country? It leaves so many things unchecked. If you had a president that you knew as a voter, this guy could be around or this girl could be around for 20 years. When in office, if they meet their goal, if she meets her goals, so you would spend more time thinking about who you would vote. You would do more research. You would not listen to these mottos and mantras, yes, we can, and all these types of little jargons. You would look for really what is this person going to do? What are his goals in 2021? What is he going to do? 2022, 2020. How is he going to address the national debt, for example? The national debt wouldn't be pushed aside because it wouldn't shift every 4 years. One person would really start looking at how do we solve a national problem, like in the United States where the national debt is 27 trillion. Where does leadership come in? Well, just think about the expertise and the continuity that you're missing out on. I remember George Bush, the son, doing a round of interviews, and he was showing his book of paintings. So this guy went from president 8 years of the United States, probably sleeping 3-4 hours a night at times, making critical decisions that have to do with millions of people every day, hundreds of millions of people every day, perhaps billions, in charge of many important things, to drawing paintings and books. Now, I'm not saying anything wrong about drawing paintings, books, but a person like that has talent. He has skills that the world needs to put to use. And there's no reason for not having continuity of government, not having some place for them to reassign their skills. And that's just the president. When you think about the administration, you're talking thousands of people that then either branch out to the private sector or retire and do other things where society can really need them and use them as advisors and consultants if presidents change. It's a real shame. So the 4-year system is really something that societies have to look at, because if you have a great president, I don't see any reason why he would not be a president for 15 years. If the approval rating's there, if people like what they're seeing, if the country as a whole is liking that, it's not a dictatorship at all. It's a constant accountability that he's doing. He's showing results, which is the big thing. The citizens like him. We need to change that. It's just not productive and not efficient, in my opinion, to have every 4 years something. Why would you have a president who sucks and have them for 4 years? Why not kick him out after 1 year, or have some system in place to do that? Anyways, big topic. Just think about it. Obviously, very controversial, but these are 3 things that I've learned. 1, people do not cherish the truth anymore. They cherish what they have now come to believe is the truth. I don't believe in coronavirus, or I believe in corona. I think it's a real thing. I think it came from China. I think it escaped a lab. There's so many versions, and you hold on to one. Instead of that, why don't you always try to seek the truth and be happy if you were proven wrong? That's one thing that I'd like to growth is pain, and that will come with a price. You would have to let go of an opinion in order to grow. Second thing that I've learned that I think is really important, aside from the truth, is force change. Don't preach. Don't become a preacher for other people. Just live your life. Live your life and just lead by example. Don't try to fix everything around you and change everything around you. You're not going to get the results you want, and you will get antagonism. And then think about this 4-year system and whether or not you think it's efficient. I'd love to get comments on this video. And I'm going to even try to get these recaps of the screen shares that I do as PDFs so you can download them and research them later from now on. That's all I have for today, and I hope you gained value from this. See you soon.